This is episode 350, recorded May 27th, 2016. Packard Pokes At. Okay, let's talk. Captain Bathroom Shitter Wars.
What time is it? It's Packard Pokes At time. Hat? Check. Shirt? Check. Pants? Optional. Mug? Double check. Check us out at cafepress.com/PackardPokesAt, where you can get all this great merchandise and more.
Do you like Packard Pokes At and want to hear it on demand and on the go? Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
This is Packard Pokes At, and I'm poking at your news. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another fine edition of Packard Pokes At. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic. And joining me tonight from the far west coast is Connie, Practical Magic 9.
Hello, everybody.
And joining us for our special guest host for Okay, Let's Talk tonight is Robin Dupree Reed from YouTube and Godless Geezer, also from YouTube.
Hello.
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 Yay.
Yay.
Oh.
So happy to have you guys on.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got all of USA covered because, I'm south, almost on the Mexico border.
That's right. You're an hour behind me. Connie is 2 hours behind me. Robin's an hour ahead of me. I think this is the first time we've covered every time zone.
Yeah.
Hey, this is episode 350. That's a first for this show. We got people from every time zone in the show.
Woo.
I only wish that was the biggest thing we're going to talk about tonight.
Dawkins' dog says Godless Geezer's going to get to watch the wall go up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he gets to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
gonna put your name in cement?
You go up, write your name in there a few times, and with your finger once they get done put in there. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, that little area between the Mexico border and New Mexico, its name in Spanish means Walk of the Dead.
Oh,
because
geez.
it's so barren and so hot. If you try to walk across it, you're not going to make it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it's like you get a terrible desert, mountains. Yeah, this time of year it's running 95 every day.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then it gets hot in the summer.
Yeah, that's a natural barrier. I don't understand why we need to put a wall up around a natural barrier like that.
And nobody's crossing that.
No one's crossing there.
Because Trump builds things, and he builds them big.
Like egos.
With those tiny, tiny hands.
With his tiny, tiny hands.
And his
He's
tiny,
compensating.
Tiny pee-pee.
Yes.
He's compensating for his micro weenie.
Yes. Speaking of weenies and things like that, that's part of our tonight's Okay, Let's Talk. The topic we're going to be covering tonight is going to be talking about the bathroom wars, basically. So we've titled the show Captain Bathroom Shitter Wars. So
They're afraid
A
to
slightly
come
lesser
forward.
known Marvel hero.
yes.
I got a pee-pee. Where do I go? Oh,
Right.
no.
Now, the thing is, with transgender people, they've most likely been using the bathroom that they've associated with their gender forever. No one said a word. My daughter and I were talking before the show, and she's like, I don't know how this all started. I don't remember exactly how this all started either to begin with. I think it's something Trump may have brought up, or maybe it was Caitlyn Jenner at one point that brought it all to the forefront. I'm not really sure, but the whole situation with people being able to use the bathroom of their choice should not be a big deal. This is such a retarded argument the Republicans and the Christian right are pushing, because the fact is that the statistics show that they're more likely to be attacked by people that they know and by people that are in, religion in the church bathrooms than they are in public bathrooms like Target, which is already illegal. So, okay, let's talk.
Yeah, we have zero reported cases of a transgender person assaulting someone sexually in a bathroom, or for that matter, anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So this is obviously a witch hunt. They lost marriage equality, so they have to spread some kind of hate to cover up the fact that they are a shitty Republican Party and a shitty
Yep.
religion.
Yep.
But that's just me, though. For the audience, I do have a transgender daughter, and so I'm not exactly objective. So yeah, yeah.
Both my daughters are now they're transgender. They're just, I don't know, regular flavored, I guess. I don't know.
Daughter,
they're just
we
daughters.
usually say cis.
Yeah, there's
cisgender.
Yeah. The first time I heard cisgender, I'm like, what the hell is cisgender? I was like,
know, me too.
I was
Well,
like, what?
it's kind of like the word, like when you're talking about smokers, you say, "Hey, I'm a non-smoker," but you don't say it the rest of the time. Same with cisgender.
Okay.
When you're talking about transgender, to clarify, you say cisgender. The rest of the time, you don't bother.
Well, where I work, I have to tell people I'm a non-smoker because I'm literally the only person down there where I work that does not smoke. But we still only have one bathroom.
See,
Oh,
your
no.
bathroom is for everyone.
That's right. It's for everybody.
Anybody can use it.
That's right. Everybody
Right?
can use it, but only one person has to clean it. It's not me.
Yeah. I mean, the whole thing is so simple to solve. Just redesign bathrooms for single person occupancy. Problem solved.
Exactly.
There
Well,
you
the
go.
problem
Yeah.
doesn't exist anyway.
Well,
But
I see the only problem with single occupancy is in bigger, larger areas. I mean, for example, stadiums, for example.
No. Listen, this is what he means, and I've said this before myself. Instead of having rooms
Mhm.
that have stalls in them,
Okay.
have doors, and you can have many of them, as many as you need. If it's a stadium, then you have tons of them.
Okay.
But instead of having stalls,
Mhm.
you have actual little rooms with toilets in it. That
Yeah.
the door closes and you
Oh,
can't
I
see
see what
under
you're
it.
saying.
You can't see under it and you can't see over it.
Oh, okay. I see what
Right.
you're saying. It's
That's what I'm talking about. It's
okay.
Yeah.
it's what costs to redo a bathroom. It would
He's
probably
not
cost
saying single
$1,000.
occupancy like
Yeah,
restrooms, just
Yeah.
restrooms that have
commodes, single,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that are enclosed and somebody can
secure.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
All right. So it's
Porta
like
potty
one
style.
like smaller rooms inside one
Yeah.
bigger room.
yeah,
Exactly.
and then you
Okay.
can just, if people are
Technically,
concerned, the barrier door, to keep anyone from seeing anything, you could
Mhm.
put a window there so people can see people at the sink. Problem solved. Not that there is a problem, but
Right.
Yeah, technically it doesn't even have to be rooms and it doesn't have to say men or women. It could just be a long hallway
Right.
mhm.
with a bunch of doors. You
Mhm.
go in, you do your business, you come out.
Right.
They could even have the sinks in there.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't see a problem with that. I was telling my daughter earlier about something that happened to me when I was a lot younger, and I am today. I first getting started out. You always get shitty jobs because you have to earn your way in the workplace. Eventually, you take those shitty jobs because they're not exactly hiring the best at that point for these little jobs. I used to work as a janitor, and I had to work at this one truck stop many years ago, and I was assigned to clean the women's bathrooms, the upstairs bathrooms. And I was in the women's bathroom, and I was cleaning up. A woman walked in to use the bathroom, and she says, I said, oh, okay, I want to make her feel comfortable, so I said, I'll leave. She goes, oh, no, it's fine, you can stay. And, if I had stayed, she probably she would just gone in and used the bathroom and done with it, and I wouldn't, I could have just continued my work. But because this is the way I think, I'm always worried about people saying shit. And if I had stayed, that maybe this lady, I don't know her, I didn't know her, I don't know her reputation. She could have said, hey, this guy was peeking in the stalls, he's in the bathroom with me, whatever. But that's a slightly different situation than what we're talking about here. But I mean, but I left because I was the one that was uncomfortable, not because I was making her feel uncomfortable. She was fine with me being in there. I was the one that was uncomfortable because I didn't want to worry about legal implications later on. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. But from my point of view,
Mhm.
I've walked into men's bathrooms,
Mm-hmm.
when I used to go to bars and stuff, if I had to pee, and the ladies' room is always, the line's always long.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had to go, I would just go walk right into the men's room. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I've done that too. I'm at a gas station or whatever, and I say the men's bathroom is occupied, and I really have to go. And I see the ladies is unoccupied. I say, "Can I use the bathroom?" They go, "Yeah, go ahead." No, I always ask because I'm a guy, but and I don't want them to say go somewhere else or whatever because I really have to go. So because and it shouldn't matter. It's you just walk in there. It's a fucking toilet. There's people that think that you walk into the women's bathroom and you're like, well, there's this comedian who talks about this. Like you walk into the men's room and it's like. You're basically outdoors. I mean, there's a tree over there for one, and a tree over there for number two, and that's it. But the ladies' bathrooms, it's flowery. It's got a couch in there, and the whole 9 yards. So
I don't know what ladies' bathrooms you're going into. Stuff. Jeez.
It's always flowery and always happy and smiley and lots of lights and things.
From my experience, ladies' restrooms are usually not that sanitary.
No, they're generally not. Like I said, I was a janitor. I saw this firsthand.
Because women don't care. They're like, this isn't my bathroom. I don't have to clean it. I'll do whatever I want in here. I'm serious. I can't stand it.
Yeah,
it really
I get that.
Pisses me off.
Yeah,
but
Dawkins Dog from the chat room says, "What will bigots do if heaven has unisex bathrooms?" That's a good question.
It does.
It's a good question.
Pissing their pants.
They'll be pissing their pants. Well, they'll say that. Well, up there you don't have to eat, so you don't have to take a shit anywhere. So
maybe they'll tie their. I know what they'll do.
If there's a heaven, why would we have these bodily functions? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, that's a good question.
It gets.
Why do we have them now? If God created us so wonderfully, why?
Right.
He's got a fetish.
Just one. God bless you.
I didn't say just one. It's just that particular. And I know what the bigots in heaven can do. What they can do is they can tie their wieners in a knot. They got them that way metaphorically anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stick a plug in it.
Or some creative use of super glue.
Now, some of these fucktards have been going on and saying shit like, well, the reason why 9/11 happened is because God was mad at us for having unisex bathrooms and the gays and things like that. It's like...
You know what? God did have a lot to do with 9/11, but not in that respect.
Yeah, exactly.
God told a bunch of fucking idiots, go fly your planes into these buildings and you will get 72 virgins.
Yeah.
That's what God's responsibility is in 9/11.
Yeah.
That was Anne Graham.
Thank you.
Billy Graham's daughter. And I sat there and watched part of her the video with her, and I was struck that she sounded like a man. She has that kind of that Ann Coulter face, and you're like,
right?
Does she have an Adam's apple? I found it ironic that she was talking about transgender, which she really...
She went on to say...
Say it, Connie. Say it, Connie. She's hot. She's in the closet.
Yeah, she's obviously in the closet.
She's a transgender herself, but she doesn't want to...
Yes.
Say it. It's all right.
I know, but I feel like I'm insulting transgenders by saying that about her.
Oh, exactly.
The preacher said, in our nation, one of the things we pray for is that some of this craziness would settle down, but our nation seems to be shaking its fist in God's face. We're abandoning God as a nation. So
There's
what?
a problem with that?
Yeah, what's the problem with that? I mean,
I'd like to shake my fist in his face.
Yeah, I would too.
We hurted God's feelings.
You know what really is weird about
out, everybody.
Yeah, you know what's really weird about that is the fact is that God actually gives a shit. If I actually created the planet and the entire universe, do you think that this little insignificant person, that this little thing I created and I'm shaking its fist in my face, would matter to me? Fuck no, I wouldn't give a shit. Because I'd probably
even notice.
Would you even notice?
You probably wouldn't notice enough not to give a shit.
All right.
You could just flick him like a booger right off of the planet.
Exactly. You know? But that doesn't happen. That's why they're saying that 9/11 happened because of this. You know, it's always funny how these fuckers will always the current situation, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a flood. It's a tornado. It's a fire. A hurricane. Whatever it is, and they'll say, "Oh well, God is angry because of this."
Well,
that doesn't make any goddamn sense. You're usually a current situation to cover up their bigotry.
And 9/11 with the Bible. Holy crap! 15 years ago.
Yeah, 15 years ago.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, but they'll explain away. Well, God is timeless. He already knows what was going to happen. So this way, he let it happen then, so we would know about it now. Fuck me with that shit.
Yeah, it does fit with the Bible, because God, whenever somebody offended him, he would kill everybody for 300 miles around. Especially in the book of Exodus.
Yeah.
You're often leaving the guilty alive, like King David did a census that God wasn't too keen on. It was 70,000 people God murdered, but not David.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so mad I'm going to kill people who are completely unrelated to somebody I put in charge.
Yeah, but anyway,
not take care of the person I put in charge, because that's how shit should work. You go down to your management, and then you take it from there. You don't do anything to the people who are, not responsible for it at all.
But, in all seriousness, this is just a witch hunt.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have an enemy.
Yes.
It's not, they can't just, live in peace and harmony. You would think that's what they would want. They have to have an enemy.
Yeah.
50 years ago, it was the horrors of destroying traditional marriage by allowing blacks and whites to marry.
Right.
Same exact arguments.
It is exact.
And somehow we weren't reduced to a pile of ashes when people no longer kept the races pure.
Oh, yeah.
I was having a conversation 2 days ago with my manager at the store I work at. Mm-hmm. And, I was having a conversation with somebody else, and she walked up and she joined in on the conversation, and that's what we were talking about, the whole transgender thing and the bathroom situation. Mm-hmm. And I knew when she joined the conversation, I knew what her thoughts would be on it. So let me tell you, this is a black woman. Okay. It's important that you know that because of something she said at the end.
Okay.
So she's a Christian. She's black, and she is against it. She doesn't want transgenders using, public facilities. You know. If you're a transgender woman, she wants that person to go in the men's room. Mm-hmm. Okay, because they were born with a penis.
Oh no.
So we're having that discussion, and I said, you do realize, my argument is always, you do realize that a transgender woman is a woman. No matter what she was born, the part she was born with, right. She is a woman, and she is going into the restroom just like you were going into the restroom. Mm-hmm. And she was saying, well, if they've already had the operation, then I don't have a problem with that. But it's before, the whole before.
Oh, geez.
Part. And then, of course, she brought up the whole, it opens the door to perverts dressing like women and going into the ladies' room.
That's a hard argument.
What is stopping a rapist from following me into the bathroom the next time I go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I was going to rape me some women, but there's a sign saying I can't go in.
Yeah,
it's a sign. It's like, I was going to do a crime, but I saw a sign. Shit, that's illegal. Wait a minute.
She also said it opens the door to, other things, like, okay, for instance, like when the whole marriage equality started, coming about, and people were like, well, that's going to open the door to people wanting to marry their dogs or
Jesus.
Stupid shit like that. So she's going on, and she finally said, and this is the important part, that that she's black. She said, why can't we just, why can't it just stay the same? Why do we have to change things for a small minority of people?
Irony meter just broke.
So I said, did you just say that? I said, what if we'd have done that back like in the 50s?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She kind of had nothing to say except, well, that still goes on. There's still racism. I'm like, yeah, there's still racism. And there probably is always going to be racism.
Yeah.
But the laws have changed for you.
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't believe she said
that.
it.
That's
I
actually
was like shocked.
That's actually a similar argument that I saw recently. Pat Robertson had brought up. He says, "Well, they're just a small minority of people. Why should we change the laws for them?"
Exactly.
You know, that is like saying, well, there are some people who deck their cars out to look like police officers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is a real thing, you know, and pull people over and then rob them.
Right.
So therefore, we should ban police officers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? We should. It's dangerous.
They are a
They're
small
completely
minority of
unrelated
people.
things.
Yeah, they're a small minority of people. I mean, why not? Just, you know.
Because it's opening the door by having those policemen, having those flashing lights. It's opening the door for people to pretend to be policemen. So we got to get rid of all these police cars.
There we
Makes
go.
just as much sense.
Yep.
None at all.
Yeah. Doc and Doug from the chat room says, I do not want my child using a restroom with a pastor, given there's far more instances of them abusing kids than the LGBT community, which is actually right.
Another thing I brought up to her,
Yeah,
I said, your child is more likely to get molested in the church that you go to every Sunday than in the bathroom at Target. And then she wanted to have an argument about those people not being Christians.
Yeah, that's a no true Scotsman fallacy.
Or you can even say there have been more Republican congressmen charged with sex and bathroom crimes than the entire transgender community.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Speaking of...
Because there's zero. It is zero. There's never been a case.
Right. Speaking of sex crimes, an anti-gay pastor, Dave Reynolds of Sherwood, Arkansas. I always want to call it Arkansas. I don't know why. It just looks like Arkansas to me. Arkansas was arrested for possession and or distribution of child pornography in a 70-count indictment.
Yeah. 70 to 150 instances or videos on his computer or something like that.
Yeah, it says here he was being held on a $250,000 bond issued by the Sherwood District Court, according to Little Rock's KATV. It says here...
Oh, he must have been doing research.
Yeah, research.
He actually went to his church board and he said, yeah, I've been looking at porn on my computer and I wanted to tell you because something's going to happen. So he's trying to say that he didn't have any knowledge that there was child porn that he was looking at.
Yeah.
And I tried to find his video, any kind of videos of him preaching. No, they've scrubbed nearly everything. I got one audio, and it's children are more likely to be molested at church.
Mm-hmm.
There was a study done by the Catholic Bishop Report between 1950 and 2013. There were 17,259 victims, which accused 6,427 clergy, and that doesn't even account for underreporting.
Right.
And the evangelical church, there's child abuse accusations of 70 per week, and again, likely underreported.
Right.
1% of churches report accusations annually. So, yeah, and a child abuser normally gets to 50 to 150 children before they are ever caught.
Right. It also says the transgender bathroom law wouldn't have helped even a single one of those victims because many of them live in silence with their trauma and shame for decades. Now, going back to this anti-gay pastor for just a moment, this guy had several email accounts. One was under the username, and I'm not kidding, Candyman.
Oh, I saw that one. Oh, my God, yes.
And he also...
It makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, and then
the other. I read it, and when you just said it.
Yeah, and then the other one was Sweet Tooth Candy 3.
God,
I'm getting shivers up my back right now. He's
so creepy.
Yeah, this guy is a real creep. They investigated the allegations and found that reasonable cause to arrest and indict Reynolds in a 70-count Class C felony. There's a 4-page copy of the indictment there. Now, this guy goes on and regularly preaches that marriage is between a man and a woman, and all homosexuality is a sin. But I guess looking at little children that are naked, isn't a sin. Nude children.
Well, that's not homosexuality.
Rape is for kids, right?
Yeah, rape is
Right.
rape is for children.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's how old kids lived back then. People lived back for a young age, so why not, right?
Well, 40-year-old men married children back then, didn't
Yeah, I imagine so.
they?
On
And
March,
still today in some countries.
yes, oh, absolutely. March 7th, the elders of Congress shall remove Dave Reynolds from all responsibility at the Cornerstone. Dave had been informed, the two elders, that he was engaged in the pornography, which Connie just mentioned. Basically, he's saying that, they're going to come and arrest me because I was looking at porn. Fucking nobody comes and arrests anybody for looking at porn. As long as it's legal porn. If it's legal adults, no one's going to fucking bother you. Unless you're, doing it in the middle of McDonald's or something.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, look at these two people fucking. That might cause some attention.
I think sometimes that the real problem with the transgender issue, and I've encountered this with people, I think it's mostly the church, but I think even people who aren't believers, they say, yeah, I think these people are making it up. I think they're pretending. If they want to pretend that that they are actually a man and they were born a woman, and that's where. Again, people who are of black, or they are of another race or whatever, they say, yeah, well, my civil rights were actually being stomped on, right? But this is different because this is like Godless Geezer opened up with, that they consider it a mental disease. And it's sort of this last frontier of, well, I mean, not the last, because there is pansexual. There's a bunch of other
Oh yeah, they'll find somebody.
They'll find
Go
something
after.
else to. They'll find something else after this is done.
So,
Yeah, Connie, we talked about that before we went live, so can I cover that now?
Sure, go ahead.
yeah.
Yeah, you had Roy Moore, that god-awful person. What was it, Alabama?
Yeah.
Alabama, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that he is or was Chief Justice of,
Supreme
but
Court
anyway,
Justice.
he's talking. He
Oh,
holds
yeah.
up the DSM. If you don't know what that is, that's the Diagnostic Standard Manual that psychiatrists, psychologists use to diagnose conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, gender dysphoria, which is what being transgender is about, is mentioned. And they say, well, it's in that book, therefore it's a mental illness. And as I put out on Facebook, here are some other things that are actually listed as conditions.
Yep.
Delayed ejaculation, erectile dysfunction, caffeine withdrawal.
Oh no, I've had that.
Definitely a mental disorder.
I've had that then.
Discord with a neighbor, lodger, or landlord. Those are all.
Oh no, I had problems with my neighbor because they were playing their music too loud and I didn't like it. No, therefore I'm a
now
mental
you're
disorder.
mentally ill.
I'm mentally ill now because I had a problem with my neighbor.
But there is a
even if it is a mental illness, don't these people deserve to be protected?
Yeah.
and treated
Absolutely.
fairly.
Yeah, and I mean, it does have, it's on page 20 to be precise. It explains very clearly that just being in there isn't enough to be a mental disorder, and it goes through this whole list of things saying even if you meet a diagnosis that could be a mental disorder, it has to meet all these conditions, about levels of impairment and so forth.
Yeah.
And it even specifically states that problems socializing because you don't conform to cultural expectations for
Right.
religion, politics, or sexual matters does not count as a mental disorder. It
Right.
says it point blank.
Contact us by email at ppappodcast@gmail.com or on Twitter as @Packard Pokes At. Like us on Facebook.com/Packard Pokes At. Call our Google Voice and leave a message at 662-709-PPAP or 662-709-7727, and we will respond to it on the show. Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. Join us live at fawnlive.tv/Packard Pokes At. During the show, you can share your thoughts with us by calling 857-216-3200 using PIN number 35368 or on uberconference.com/Packard Pokes At. For links to the stories, visit our show page at packardpokesat.wordpress.com. You can help support the show by purchasing merchandise from cafepress.com/packardpokesat or make a donation to the show at patreon.com/packardpokesat. If you can't afford any money, why not share the show with your friends and rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spreaker, and on YouTube. For everyone that shares and rates us, you kick ass.
Speaking of people who make these legal notifications on this, because we're in the middle of a presidency elect right now, and Trump, as of the beginning of this week, became the nominee legally. I mean, he has all the votes to become the nominee. He said that he would. Yeah, I know, right? No one saw that coming. Like, ugh. But Trump said if he were to become president, he would pick somebody for SCOTUS. It would be William Pryor. Now, this guy said he would let states jail LGBT people for having sex in their own home, which is unconstitutional. But he goes on to say that the Supreme Court has never recognized a fundamental right to engage in sexual activity outside of a monogamous heterosexual marriage, let alone to engage in homosexual sodomy. And he also wrote,
none of anybody's business. That's why they don't.
That's right. He says
it's not their business.
That's right. And then he continued on to say, he also wrote, such a right would be antithetical to the traditional relation of the family that is as old as fundamental as our entire civilization. This guy doesn't even know fucking history. Homosexual activity has been throughout families throughout history. This is not something that's just new, and it's not a USA-centric thing. He was also went on to say it was harmful and then that Texas needed to be protected from it, basically. I'm like, oh, my God. You know what we need protection from? People like him.
We need protection from Texas.
Yeah.
We need protection from.
He was arguing there's no fundamental right to engage in homosexual sodomy just because it's done behind closed doors, because homosexual sodomy has not historically been recognized in this country as a right. To the contrary, it has been historically been recognized as a wrong. It's not a fundamental right. Bullshit! You don't know what you're fucking talking about.
Don't think he cares.
You're right.
Does he know the blowjobs that he gets from sodomy?
I guess he doesn't. I guess he's never... Yeah, but he doesn't. I bet you he says, I've never had a blowjob in my entire life. Well, maybe you should probably get one, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every one of these people who talk, we all know what they're talking about when they talk about sodomy.
Yeah, they're talking about butt
sex.
They're
talking about anal sex. They're talking about, and what they're talking about is two men.
Yeah.
That's all they're talking about. They're not talking about anything else. They're not talking about blowjobs. They're not talking about anything else but men fucking each other in the ass.
Right.
That's what they're talking about.
Yeah, it's okay to fuck a woman in the ass because she has
if their wives allowed it, they would fuck their wife in the ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Some women like that too. I'm just saying, Robin, don't you know that it's okay to fuck a woman in the ass because she has another hole there too, right next to it. That's their way of thinking. That's the way they're thinking. It's like because she has two holes and they're right there, that's okay. But because a man doesn't have he has another hole, but it's too small to put a dick into, therefore anal sex is wrong. And because you can't procreate from it.
That makes sense. You can't procreate when you fuck your wife in the ass either.
That's right.
Well, if you gave her a hernia, maybe some could seep through.
Now,
what was there was a senator or a congressman who thought that you could get pregnant, a woman should get pregnant if she swallowed the semen or something.
Oh yeah, I remember that. He says, "Well, why don't you just put a camera when a woman gets pregnant? So why don't you just make her swallow a camera or something?" It's like
that was what it was.
Yeah, I was like, you don't understand that the uterus is not connected to the digestive system. Yeah.
He thought that old song about the leg bones connected to the knee bone was actual biology lesson.
Yeah. No, I heard this on another show that basically it fits this whole, well, it doesn't fit this whole situation, but it fits humanity as a situation. All we are is a big tube, with openings at both ends, wrapped in meat. And that's
That sounds like something you'd find on a menu at a restaurant.
So basically, we're kind of like a corn dog without the stick.
Yeah, we're a corn dog without the stick. Some of these Republicans and right-wing Christians have a stick up their ass, though. Speaking of sticks up their ass, recently the Obama administration put out a decree saying, hey, you got to allow, if a kid is transgender, they should be able to use what bathroom they want to. And I completely agree. And some of these states, led by, guess who, Texas, is the leading plaintiff in the case that is joined by several other state governments. Alabama, Wisconsin, the state I live in. Fuck you, Scott Walker and your ilk. West Virginia, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Louisiana, unsurprising. Utah, who saw that one coming? And Georgia, and as well as Arizona. Oh, and Department of Education and the Office of the Governor of Maine. Now that one has surprised me.
Okay, we're talking about, Republicans and all, but this isn't just Republicans.
Yeah,
I have to say that. Because they were talking to a guy from Louisiana, which, Bobby Jindal's no longer their governor, and they do have a Democratic governor now who is trying to get rid of all the crap that Bobby Jindal did. He's trying to reverse everything. And the new governor is for the transgender bathroom thing. Like, he wants that to happen. But there are some, even not just Republican congressmen, but Democratic ones too, who are against it.
Yeah.
So it's not. It crosses party lines.
It does cross party lines.
You
Yeah,
have
it does cross party lines.
liberals who are that way because they want to say there's no such thing as gender, and therefore you can't be transgender.
Right.
And it just
that's
nonsense.
just a stupid argument.
Well, you want to know who someone? It shocked me who made this. YouTuber Logic made it on Twitter.
Really?
Yep.
Logic?
I unsubbed over Logic. I unsubbed from him over that.
Wow. My daughter brought up this point, and I didn't agree with it, but we don't always agree on everything. But that's how a good conversation starts. She was saying that this whole situation is just completely stupid. It's taken away our focus from everything else. I mean, like, for example, Trump got the goddamn nomination for the Republican Party. I mean, we should be focusing on that too. I agree. But the thing is, and I told her, I said that we sometimes have to look at these smaller issues to get those out of the way so we can get to the bigger issues.
Okay, but hold on a second. Your daughter's right about that.
Okay.
I have to agree with your daughter about that, and here's why.
All right.
This happens every time there's an election, okay? Every single time. This was probably done on purpose because people will focus on that instead of the real issues. Donald Trump could go crazy and get an election and win the election if he really harps on this particular issue.
Yeah.
Because you have crazy people out there who don't want this to happen.
Right.
Just like with gay marriage.
Right. And no, I on that point I agree. On that point I agree.
We are taking focus off of real issues that are happening in this country. And that's great for Trump because he doesn't know anything about those real issues.
Right.
He can't talk about those real issues. So if he goes on to make a big deal about this, that's what's going to be the issue.
Yeah.
Okay. So your daughter is actually right about that.
Okay. I'll be sure to tell her that she was right.
Yes. Tell her I am applauding her for even knowing that.
Remember the 2008 election? The big distraction was Joe the plumber.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck does that matter?
Right.
Yeah. And it was.
It's always going to be something when it's
soccer moms and
when it's a social issue. Okay, these are social issues. We have other more pressing problems going on in this country than these social issues. Why bother even talking about whether two men get married or not?
Right.
Okay, when our economy sucks.
Right.
When people are getting paid shit wages for doing pretty hard work.
Yeah.
Those are real issues. National security, that's real issues. The 1% making all the fucking money. And then the rest of us starving to death. Those are real issues.
No, I get that.
Getting married, where I go pee, not an issue.
Right. No, I get that. I get that. I'm just saying, in my thought process, it's like, yeah, these things come up because these other people have brought this up. So we do have to address these issues when they are brought up like this. Is it a stupid thing to fight over? Yeah. But she was also bringing it up, saying, well, you're bringing it up now. I was like, well, I kind of have to, because we need to talk about this. And the difference between myself and a Republican and the Democrats bringing this up is that I don't have the ability to say, hey, go get that bridge fixed. I mean, I can say it, but I'm really not that important of a person. The Republicans and Democrats are the ones doing it.
You have a voice.
Yeah.
And you can vote.
Yeah, that's the only way to do my voice, right?
Well, and if we would all make it known to the powers that are elected that, look, this isn't an issue for us. We think that everybody should be able to have access to the same thing as everybody else. That if two consenting adults are in love, they should be able to get married. If somebody identifies as the other gender, they should be able to use the bathroom of choice. Or we should rethink how public restrooms work. Like we were saying earlier, maybe we just need to have general bathrooms with stalls and not worry about that. Get rid of urinals or put urinals and toilets. And the thing is that most people who are transgender, when they identify, they are dressing and they make their appearance to look like, it's not like you're going to have some big burly guy walk into the ladies' room.
Right.
And even if a man walks in, does it mean he's going to rape me? I don't think so. I mean, it just...
Yeah.
There are a lot of trans people...
many men's rooms, and I've never raped anyone in my life. So
I've been in a lot of women's restrooms. I've never raped anybody either.
You guys have such good self-control.
They never talk about that part.
Yeah. I've been in a lot of ladies' restrooms. I've never raped anybody.
My brain is itching from this. I'm just trying to figure out what in the fuck is
but
wrong with
it's always going to be something, though.
It's always going to be something.
When we deal with this, I have a feeling we're going to go back to the abortion issue when this is over.
Oh, that conversation still hasn't stopped.
Yeah, well, I know, but it's going to be on the forefront again.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's going to happen is this election is going to be over. Okay. And then this whole transgender bathroom thing is going to be over.
Yep.
And then we're going to have to start thinking about our midterm elections again.
Oh, and then it'll be up again.
There'll be another big social issue.
Yeah.
That the Republicans are going to harp on.
Well,
so
if you
they're
think
crazy.
about it,
Fucking morons will get all riled up and go out and vote, and the Democrats stay home as they always do.
All right. I think the main thing that's boiling this down is the fact is that because gays were allowed to get married, and there's those bigots are still out there, that because of that they say, well, we can't fight against that anymore. There's still some of them are still trying, but they know they're on the losing side of the battle here, so they're like, okay, we need to step back from this. Let's find somebody else that we can focus on. Oh yeah, trans people are using the bathroom. Okay, well they're not protected by law in a lot of places, so we can harp on them because our religion says we can be assholes to whatever people that we think are against our religion. And the thing is that they don't realize there are a lot of trans people who are out there who are probably Christians, just as much as they are.
And Republicans.
Caitlyn
Jenner.
Yep.
Listen, she's not the greatest spokesperson for the cause. Okay.
No.
It was great that she was publicly, totally publicly doing all this stuff to bring attention to it, but she's not really the greatest.
No, she's a horrible person to begin with.
No.
But yeah, the reason for this, I mean, it's obvious if you think about it. There are two kinds of Republicans: billionaires, multimillionaires who want to be tax-free and pay their workers shit. So how do they get power?
Right.
They realized that they can work up the ignorant, and as Donald Trump called it, I love the poorly educated.
I love the poorly
educated.
educated.
Into a frenzy. Family values, Christian here, just keep them worked up over this and that, and they vote against their own interest every time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, don't they realize just for 10 minutes be a citizen of some of the places in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
Where you can go to the doctor without a calculator and without emptying out your savings.
Yeah.
Right.
And you don't have to, zero cases of declaring bankruptcy over medical bills.
Right.
But no, that's socialism. Commies. You just keep
Yeah.
it works brilliantly.
Yeah. When people bring up the socialism aspect, I was like, okay, stop driving on the fucking roads. Stop walking to the sidewalks.
Don't use your mail.
Don't use the mail. Don't use the police department. Don't use the fire department. Those are all socialist things too.
Turn the water off.
Yep.
Can't use the socialist water.
Yep.
Don't go to school. Well, they've done that already. They can't keep their kids ignorant enough in schools anymore. So
yeah.
They keep them at home.
I mean, they're trying, but
Yeah.
To keep them at home and teach them about Adam and Eve and sin and the flood.
Yeah.
Noah's Ark.
Well, a Michigan dad yanked his sons out of school over a trans child in their school using the bathroom, and he was quoted as saying, "My kids are being humiliated and intimidated."
How?
I have no idea.
You go to school. I'm a straight guy, but people thought I was gay because if you look at me, I'm not real super muscular or anything like that. I didn't join a sports team. People just automatically assumed I was gay. And it was like, I'm not gay. I don't give a shit, but you can think about me that way. I really don't care. It doesn't hurt me any. It just shows how much of a bigot you really are. But nowadays, I mean, when my kids went to school, and they're out of school now, but when they went to school, they're talking about people being gay. They didn't go after them like the shit I had to go through. If someone was gay, it's like, oh, it's not a big deal. Back then, it was a bigger deal, and that wasn't even 30 years ago.
Listen, people are coming around. I mean, my grandkids, they're teenagers. The older two are teenagers. And, I mean, it's just a total non-issue. Like, it's a non-issue. If somebody's gay, straight, transgender, it's not even an issue.
Right.
The way my granddaughter talks about her friends, she has a couple of transgender friends, a couple of gay friends. I mean, it's not even an issue. At all. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah, Dawkins Dog says, as a Brit, I can attest, socialized healthcare as we have may not be perfect, but it's a lot better than the alternative.
Nothing.
Oh, fuck yeah. It's a lot better than the alternative.
Yeah, America has the best healthcare that you can afford.
Yeah.
If you got $10 million to throw around.
If you can afford it.
I mean, if you got $10 million to throw around just on the incidentals before they even get to the treatment, you can have a masseuse, you can have, someone peeling grapes for you in the hospital, whatever you like.
Right.
But if
peeling
you're a
grapes?
primary person, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I have health insurance through work. Okay. I pay for it and now it's just like hospitalization now.
Yeah.
I have it because, just in case something horrible happens. Because I don't go to the doctor. I mean, it's just not, I don't go to the doctor very often.
Right. Same here.
And
I've got health insurance and I don't go.
You got to meet these deductibles that are outrageous now.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I'll never meet them. So I'm paying out of pocket for all, every time I go to the doctor, every time I do have to go to the doctor, I pay out of pocket.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I never meet my deductible.
Right.
So unless something horrible happens, I won't ever meet my deductible.
Speaking of a horrible thing that's happened, a Painesville, Kentucky woman said that she was attacked and brutally beaten this last Thursday for looking too masculine.
Right.
Yeah, Brittany Nicole Wallace wrote, "Today I was assaulted. A man attacked me because I looked like a dyke. He said people like me should make him hate the world." Oh, fuck. He started hitting me over and over again in the face until he got me down, Wallace wrote, and then after I was down, he began to kick me in the stomach, side, and face. When she tried to fight back, but her attacker was bigger and stronger. Bystanders, she said, never even lifted a finger to help. The sad part of this, no one would come to help me either. Several people stood around and watched as this happened. Again, I truly believe that if someone had a more feminine appearance, someone would have helped me. This is going to show the violence that they're willing to go to think that they're proving a point. You're not proving a point. your rights end at the tip of your nose. It doesn't matter if this person looks like they're a woman looks more masculine or a guy looks more feminine. That doesn't give you a right to assault them just because they look different from you. Hey, fuckers, everybody looks different from everybody else. Everybody's genetic makeup is different from everybody else's. No two people are the same.
Yeah, the way I look at it is there's enough copies of me in the world. I don't want a bunch of people just like me.
Yeah.
I like variety in the world, though I can do without the kind of person you just mentioned.
Yeah.
But, it's like, get over yourself.
Yeah.
I don't think the world can handle two of me. I'm just
Robin, more than one of you is more than enough. I say that in the nicest way possible.
I'm sure.
Now, there's another story here. Just the physical abuse is one of the things that's been going on. Now, apparently there's a woman who donated her hair to cancer patients, was mistaken for a trans woman, and harassed in a restroom. So she did a nice thing. She cut her hair. Now, this goes back to the whole the religious morality, say that women got to have long hair. Why? Because the Bible says so? Fuck off. Who cares what the Bible says?
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit.
And the fact is, they don't either.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
I mean, the Jesus character in the Bible novel made it very clear that women who are divorced cannot get remarried. Doesn't apply to men, of course, as long as he doesn't marry a used woman. But how many of these are on their second or third marriage? They just completely ignore that.
Yeah.
But
because
Kim Davis?
as Kim Davis said, she
They're
was
clean.
washed clean.
Yeah.
That creeped me out so bad when I heard her say that. I mean,
I've heard Christians say this same kind of rhetoric. It was like, well, it doesn't matter what I did in the past because Jesus washed me away with the blood. It's like, if you ever try to wash anything with blood, it just sticks to everything.
it's kind of a biohazard.
It is. It really is.
You don't get clean from washing in blood.
No, you do not.
especially not your own.
It's definitely not your own. It's worse when it's somebody else's. And you got to get that scrubber out, and because the evidence,
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, this woman was her name is Amy Toms, who was recently harassed in the Walmart restroom because she had just had her hair cut. She was in the bathroom and wearing a baseball hat because she had very short hair. Because, like I said, she recently donated her hair to charity that makes wigs for children with cancer, which is a noble cause. Some woman walked in there and told her, "You're disgusting. You don't belong in here." She's 22 years old, and she's like, this opened her eyes up to the harassment that transgender people go through. I think this would be a very good experience for these hateful fucks to walk in there, get their hair. You don't even have to cut it off. Just put it up in a way that makes it look really short. Make yourself look like you're transitioning or whatever, and then just see the fucking hate that you're getting, that you're fucking putting out. And you'll also see in some instances the acceptance is like, okay, well, you're just here to use the bathroom. And nobody's going to, most other people are not going to care. Only the fucking bigots, are the ones that have something to hide, are going to care.
You know
what scares me is how violent they are in word and sometimes in actions towards people. I'm sorry, go ahead, Goddess Geezer.
Yeah. What really is sad about this whole thing, other than the political witch hunt, is this, without question, is causing more transgender teens to kill themselves. And it's like 43% try to kill themselves as it is. And sooner or later, somebody's going to kill a transgender or someone they think is transgender in a bathroom. Yeah. And they don't care as long as as long as they can get their hate on for the people that are getting the manipulation, and for the people in power, as long as they get their power, or their election, or their whatever bill they want to get done, passed through Congress at midnight and have no one notice.
Right.
And
But somehow when that happens, because the story that Packard was just talking about, the guy who was beating up that woman who looked not feminine, somehow they'll turn it around to be her fault.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
It'll be, you see, this is why you shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
This is why you shouldn't do this.
This is why
that guy killed her you shouldn't do this.
Yeah,
Not,
that would have made it up to be her
guy should
fault.
never laid his hands on that woman. You know.
Yep.
Yeah. So they need to get American burqas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what they're. That's what they'll probably move to next. The women in this country got the all women. The only way we're going to tell women from the men now is the women have to be all in bags. We got to be like Saudi fucking Arabia. So this way we know which one you are.
In my America, you would be wearing the burqa, not me.
Well, I'm not that ugly, Robin. I'm just saying.
You would be wearing the burqa, young man.
Young man.
Well, you're younger than me, I'm sure.
I'm 45 actually.
I just turned. 50.
Oh, you're the young'un.
I am. Well, yeah. I guess I am the youngest one here.
I mean, my character's an old man, but I'm about to turn 49. But
okay, all right. Then right now that I am the youngest one here.
The baby.
I'm still the baby. I was the baby. I'm the baby of my family. I'm still the baby, even on my own show. God damn it.
I'm the youngest of the family. So is my wife. So
I'm officially a senior citizen now.
Oh well.
Yay!
Woohoo!
You want
Get
us
all
to call you
this
Senora? Do you want us to start calling you Senora?
Well, unfortunately, we do have to get going because it's an hour-long show. We're going to take some last thoughts on this, Robin, on this whole shitter wars. What is your last few thoughts on this?
Pee wherever the fuck you want to pee.
There you go.
I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna start going in men's rooms now.
There you go.
I'm gonna start going in public
and make sure you rape the little boys that are in there. Otherwise, it doesn't count.
God damn it!
because they're always worried. Because they're always worried about men raping little girls. We got to prove that women can rape little boys.
I know. What do they think? Why? I mean,
like women don't have sex drives. Remember, women are the only men have sex drives, and women just resist sex every chance they get.
You're virginal.
Yeah, you're all virginal. Godless Geezer, last thoughts on the shitter wars.
Get your mind out of the toilet and onto something important. Yes. And if you're a transphobe, feel free to drop dead at your earliest convenience.
Go fuck yourself. That's it. Just go fuck yourself.
Right. Connie, what are your last thoughts on this?
I think that the real mental illness is everybody who's a bigoted, hateful, fearful jerkwad, and they're the ones who really need help. This is disgusting to me. Yeah. This entire thing is so disgusting because I'm like, look, can't we just be decent to each other?
Right.
Somebody just wants to use the restroom. I'm actually more concerned that people wash their hands after they go to the restroom than whether or not somebody has got a dick or a vagina in the stall next to me.
Right. Exactly. My last thoughts on this is that if you need to use the restroom, just fucking use it. I mean, for me, if it's not occupied and there's no one going to come in and use it, don't worry about it. Just it's a bodily function. We all have it. And everybody poops, everybody pees. And because the laws say that if I go up in the middle of a forest and take a piss and somebody sees it, I'm obviously in the wrong because I flashed my penis someplace. So let me just use the bathroom where I can go into it, close the door, and be alone for at least in that little room, at which I'm only going to be in there for maybe 4 minutes, unless I have to take a shit, in which you might as well just buy a newspaper and go to the bookstore.
It's all God's fault anyway for making men have their genitals dangle out. He should have put them someplace convenient.
Yeah, or make them pop out so they can just go, poop, there they are, pop them back in, pop them out, pop in, pop out.
That's what the belly button was for.
Now I'm thinking about the Pillsbury Doughboy. Thank you. A little giggle.
Now that's who we need to be stamping out and opposing, the Pillsbury Doughboy, because he's some kind of freak. I don't know what he's up to, but I don't trust him.
Yeah.
We need to pass a law against him using the bathroom at all.
He looks like a big sperm in the kitchen. I don't.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. That's a great note to go out on. Speaking of which, we'll be back next week with our regular short show. I think. Yeah, our regular short show. So
Sure.
We'll see you then. This has been Packard Pokes At. We just had our okay. Let's talk.
And that's a wrap.